What's up, guys? This is my deck tech on my Jun. It's not zombies, it's more of a aggro list. Starting off with 1-drops. I've got 3 Deathrite Shamans. Great against Undying triggers, Snapcaster triggers, and just get a few extra points of damage in or gain life. Next in line, 3 Lot Length Troll. Great interaction with Garrick Relentless and his final when he flips. Also, if I've got to discard cards or I've just got an abundance of cards in hand, I can discard to this guy and he gets bigger. And he has Regenerate. A lot better than Strainward Geist, in my opinion. Moving up to 3-drops, I have 2 Nighthawks. I only run 2 Nighthawks because I rarely need much more life gain with having the Deathrite Shaman and Huntmasters in the build. But it's a great interaction between this guy and Deadbridge Goliath over here. I can discard this guy to the troll and then scavenge to make this guy that much bigger, that much better. Moving on up, since we already got there, Deadbridge Troll, 4 for a 5/5. Not much more that can be said about him. He's just simply amazing. I found that a lot of people don't really have much answers for him, and he's a good blocker, and even after he hits graveyard, he's got great utility. Next, the necessity for any red-green deck, 4 Huntmaster of the Fells. 4 for 4 power on board, and he gives you 2 life, and it puts your opponent on spell pressure. They've got to cast spells or kill him. I just like him overall. That's all my block creature builds. I've got 2 onesie creatures. A 1 Thundermaw Hellkite, which is a pretty daggum good dragon I've been using. He drops and pretty much says no to whatever flying creature they have, and he can get in, him and the Nighthawk, or him and another big guy. And then I've got a onesie of Tree of Redemption. I found Tree of Redemption's nice because he can get in there and block everything that's silver hearted up or just overall huge. He kind of just puts a kink in their game. Great card, and he's good if you're in the position to do it, to switch your life around and sort of play shenanigans with my last creatures, which are Griselbrands. I play 2 Griselbrands because I don't really want to see him that much, but I do want to see him when I need him. He's just one of those guys that are really, if you put him on the board and your opponent can't produce an answer, he will win you the game. And I prefer him over, running Planeswalkers, or because even if they target to destroy him, in response I can pick up 7 cards. He's a great guy, and he's got lifelink. Makes him all the better. Moving into ramp, I have 4 Farseeks. One of the best ramp cards in the game right now, especially since all the shocklands are both types, swamp forest, mountain swamp, etc. And that goes well with the 4 blood crypts and the 4 overgrown tombs that I run, so I can fix my mana base relatively quick, relatively easy. Stepping a bit into removal, I have 2 Mutilates, one of the best removal cards in Standard right now, since there's so much Regenerate going around and so much shenanigans with zombies. It's an overall good card. You can also control how big the removal card is. So if you need it to be big, you can keep digging out your swamps, or you can just keep playing swamps. Or, if you've got a Griselbrand on board, you can just get it up to 6, kill everything else. And unless they kill the Griselbrand, he stays, and it's a nice interaction. Moving to my onesies removal that are main, I have 1 Abrupt Decay, 1 Dreadbore, 1 Mizium Mortars, and 1 Tragic Slip. I only play 1 of these cards main because I've already got some decent removal, and my creatures do a lot of the work. But I found myself in a few positions where I don't need more than 1 of these, but I always seem to get them when I need them. Next, moving to Planeswalkers, I have 2 Garrick Relentless. He is he's pretty much he's a good Garrick. I prefer Primal Hunter, but he has great interaction with Lot Length Troll, and it's just overall it's an amazing interaction, especially if you discard creatures and final him off. He pumps all your guys, and on top of it, he's sort of like a second kind of removal in the form that he makes Death Touch guys, and he can shoot creatures. Moving on to the other Planeswalker, the one I prefer. Aside from Griselbrand, this is my second draw engine in the deck, especially since I've got the Scavenge ability. Relatively large creatures. He can drop and make a guy, or he can drop and replenish my hand based on what state the game is in. He's one of my favorite Planeswalkers. I have finaled him a couple times for the worms, but Not really a necessity. It's just kind of, it's one of those things to where if you're in a position where you can win that way, it's a good little thing to have. Next, the other mandatory card if you're playing red, 3 Bonfire of the Dams. I like this card a lot simply because I can sort of fry the board that my opponent has, but keep what I've got. It's overall it doubles as a burn spell, or kind of deals with the annoying pesky little things that my opponent does. Not really in the form of like regenerate, because if this with this, the regenerate, they can just do it, and so it's a situational card. But 9 times out of 10, Bonfire always helps, and I've miracled for wins before. Last and least, I run a onesie in the burn package of Devil's Play. I love Devil's Play simply because it's a double value card. The first run is normally the best run unless the second one's late game. But it keeps my bonfires doing damage to players, and if planeswalkers are a problem, then I can sort of redirect the planeswalkers, or I can just dreadbore them. But Devil's Play has won me a lot of games. It's a really great utility card, and it's just all around. It's a mana sink for late game. I do a 36-24 split, spells versus lands. So in late game, it doesn't hurt me to draw one of these cards if I've got a board full of lands, or if I've got one of these in hand and draw a land. It's just more fuel for the fire based on board state. Moving to my lands. I run, in the basic slots, 3 swamps, 2 forests, and 1 mountain. The 3 swamps are just sort of for the mutilate. If I want to be dropping a basic land, I want it to be a swamp. That way I can sort of keep mutilate in check or power it up, whichever one I need to do. Forests are more numerical over the mountains because, most of the stuff in the deck runs off of green. Well, all the power curve stuff does. And the 1 mountain is just kind of in there, so I have a mountain in there just in case I need to fetch it up, or, they do ghost quarter shenanigans and I need a red. Next, 2 Dragon Skull Summits. That's just sort of to even out the red-black versus green-black in the deck, and also 2 Rootbound Craigs. I don't run play sets of these. I just run 2 and 2 because, sometimes I need a Dragon Skull, sometimes I need a Rootbound. And I found that this sort of evens out when I get them and how I get them. Next, 4 Blood Crypts. I don't need to explain to you why this card's good. It's a good fetch-up for Farseek, and 4 Overgrown Tombs. Also a good fetch-up for Farseek. Also run 4 Woodland Cemeteries. I can't Farseek them, but once I get one of these shock lands into play, all my dual lands come into play untapped, which is an amazing interaction that most people haven't figured out, or some have. And my other 2 lands are Kessa Gulfrun. It's a great late game mana sink if I get a wimpy creature, like Locklands Troll with nothing to discard to it, or Vampire Nighthawk with nothing to discard, or nothing to pump it. It's just an overall card that, I can sink that extra mana to if I don't have anything in hand, and it can also win me the game. That's my land base and my main board. I'm going to move over now to sideboard. Sideboard's kind of tricky. I run 3 extra Abrupt Decays. This is mainly against Attention Sphere, Oblivion Ring, and some of your problem creatures. I Champion of the Parish, Champion of the Lambolt. Mostly it really hurts humans. It stops Silverblade Paladin, etc. It's a pretty decent card. I enjoy it. Also, it stops all those tokens, the 5/5 Armada Worm token. It's a great card. I love it. And, if you fry Fragtusk, it's an easy target to get rid of that beast if you need to get out of the way. Next up, 3 Slaughter Games. This card is mainly against the counter matchups. It definitely holds a lot of weight simply because, I can dig all those out. It stops Angel of Serenity in the counter matchups. It stops Entreat. These are mainly in here against USA Control simply because I can dig out those miracle cards that they rely on. I can dig out the Snapcasters. And it pretty much puts a big kink in their game plan. If I can take one piece of their plan away to win, then I've already got the upper foot, so that's why I run those. On the further removal package, I run Blasphemous Act. This is a very under-the-radar card right now. Really against any human deck, Blasphemous Act is amazing because they literally power that board up pretty quick. They put a lot of guys out. Some of them play Fiend Hunter, and then Blasphemous Act just fries everything and gives you your creature back. Moving on, I play a second Mizium Mortar because sometimes Mutilate is just not the answer. so I can take out the mutilate and sort of put in a card that more directly controls the board how I need it to be controlled. I like this card a lot. I play tested it and we really just fell in love with it. Moving on to removal, I run 2 more Dreadbores. These are against mirror matches to stop their Primal Hunters, to stop their big creatures. It really puts a kink in like Gisela. Gisela, Angel of Serenity, all the problem stuff you run into, and really, if you're playing against USA Miracle or the Jace, Architect of Thought, Tamiyo decks combo, then you can slow their combo down. Moving on, 2 Appetite for Brains. I prefer Appetite for Brains over Duress for one main reason. If the deck is playing blue, and I grab a blue card, like, or an instant or sorcery card that's 4 or less, or 4 or more, then they can snap it back and get value out of it. With Appetite, it straight exiles it, so it hits the planeswalkers, it hits the creatures, it hits the instants and sorceries, the stuff that's a problem that I really don't want to have to deal with on board. This is a great card, I love it. I run a 3rd Mutilate in the sideboard. This is for really mainly against green-black zombies, because they play Golgarian Charm, they play a lot of creatures that aren't really a problem to deal with, so I'd rather just pay 4 than paying 6 for Mizium or directly killing with Abrupt Decay, etc. Mutilate's a really good card because it does stop Indestructible and Regenerate. That's 2 of the big things that's going on right now, especially with the Predator use and all that retarded stuff. Last and least, 2 Sever the Bloodlines. Sever the Bloodline is a great card against Entreat the Angels. That's the one reason this card is really in my sideboard. It stops Entreat the Angels. It stops little human decks shenanigans. And most of the time when I bring it in, I don't really have much of a problem, severing Bloodline one creature. Because I do get to use it 2 times, so it's not that bad of a card. Excuse me, I had to spit. Overall, Sever the Bloodline is one of my least favorite removal cards, but it's definitely one of the most effective removal cards right now. It straight exiles it, and that gets around the Predator use. It gets around the other little Indestructible and Wolfire Silver Hearts, etc. It's just overall good removal card, and like I said, you get 2 values out of it. So if you are playing a token matchup and you get rid of the Angels and then they entreat again, flashback, whatever, you get rid of them again. It's a great card. So this is my gen list: sideboard, mainboard, and lands. It's a really fun deck so far. I've won a couple boxes with it, and I've continued to succeed with the deck. It's just it's a really hard deck for a lot of decks to get around. The main objective is to kill everything and show no mercy. I'm Miller. Like and subscribe if you want me to post more videos. This is my first, so feel free to comment and let me know how my commentation went, how the deck looks, etc. I'm also open to consider anybody that wants to give hints, tips on their gen list builds, etc., or sideboard options. I'm open to ideas. Subscribe, like, etc. Look forward to hearing from you. Have a nice day.